Hello, my name is Marcello Ishida, and I'm here in another chapter of A Day in the Life, today with ThousandEyes. So let's start. Before we start talking about ThousandEyes, I would like to share with you a common day in Marcello's life. In this case, Marcello is an engineer that works for a big company in US with a different branch offices in US and is in charge of supporting the most critical application running on that company, which is Office 365. Imagine that Marcello is working on a normal day and someone realizes that Office is not working properly, and then what happens is that this guy or this person is gonna call Marcello or send a message or whatever it is asking for help. Next, what happens is Marcello is gonna think a little bit, okay, how can I troubleshoot that problem? What kind of tool should I use? Because remember, we are now all working from home and it can be anywhere. It can be the internet access, it can be the laptop of the user because it's running out of memory, it can be the Microsoft XaaS Office 365 application or server or any other resource inside Microsoft. It can be anywhere. So it ends up that if you're lucky, or if Marcello is lucky, he's going to be able to find where the problem is very quickly, solve it, so the business is going to keep running and the company is not going to be affected. But what happens if Marcello is not in a lucky day? It's going to happen is that in the end of the day, if he's lucky or he's not, he might be tired of trying to look where the problem is and maybe not lucky enough to find this problem and solve it for the company. We call that before ThousandEyes example. Now let's talk about a day in life with ThousandEyes. What's the difference? So let me guide you through that. So Marcello starts his day the same way. Someone identifies there is a problem with Office 365 the same way. But now the difference is that Marcello has ThousandEyes Cloud Dashboard to help him identify where the problem is. And now let me switch real quick here to ThousandEyes Dashboard so we are able to look at that together. So this first screen, what you're seeing is a dashboard that Marcello customized for the company, and some of the parameters he used to look online about the health of those items. So availability, response time, DNS resolution, connect time, so on and so forth. So those colors you see, it will depend and vary according to what is the percentage or what is the response time or whatever other parameter is that you can pretty much customize it. Okay, in this case you can see that overall the Office 365 and its parameters, they look fine, right? So let's go a little bit in a more detailed scenario. Here in this map you can see all the sites that I mentioned that Marcello supports on that company, and we can see also if there is any kind of problem. In this case I'm looking for availability and I'm also looking for response time, and I already found something here. If I just hover over my mouse, I can see that Cincinnati Office seems to have any kind of problem in regards to response time. There's a very high response time in regards to that. If I go a little bit deep, I can look at each of the specific site individually, and I can look at Cincinnati and confirm that it might have a problem there. Here below you see the response times for all those parameters, and we really see a problem in Cincinnati. So with that, let me switch to that other view where I will go deep into Cincinnati and look where the problem is. So here is a high level view on the HTTP server connection for the Office 365. I see there is a problem here, right? Then if I switch to overview, what I'm gonna see down here is confirm some of the parameters I'm using to measure the problem and where the problem is. And exactly the problem is happening only for Cincinnati. And look, one difference here. The target of the Microsoft Office 365 server for Cincinnati is a different IP address, so it might be a different server than the other ones are using. But the other ones also have some differences in between, but they're all looking great. But for Cincinnati, I can see there's a packet loss and there's a high latency and jitter happening. So let's go a little bit deep. If I click on the path visualization, I'll be able to look at all the sites and the connections. And more than that, if I look into where the problem is, Cincinnati, what I will do is I will filter by the site. So let me look at Cincinnati only, because this is the site where the problem is happening. And with that, I'm able to see exactly that the problem is actually not at one of our sites, but rather is on the service provider connection we have, as well as inside the Microsoft Cloud, happening specifically on this node. What you can do at this point is we have identified the problem, so we need to open a ticket with the service provider and also with the Microsoft Cloud, and we can do more than that. We can share this link, which is already kind of published to be public, with both of the providers, the service provider and the Microsoft Office Cloud provider. And then we can ask them, hey, can you look at this link? They're gonna have the same view as I'm having here, so they will be able to easily identify and collaborate in between to have this problem solved. As an additional step, I decided to look at my own laptop. So I'm looking at Marcello laptop, where I installed an endpoint agent for ThousandEyes, and I'm generating a traffic for the Office 365 inside that company, because I want to check if the Office 365 is working fine as a user. So I'm simulating myself as a user inside that network, and I can see it's working pretty well. So I don't see any kind of problem on the connection. Everything looks fine as long as I was connected. So if I switch to the network view, I'll also be able to see my connection from my laptop here in green up to the Microsoft Cloud. Okay, I'm using a different server here, but doesn't matter. I just wanna check and confirm from the user perspective if everything going well. So let me switch back to the screen that I was sharing with you before. Then we can keep moving on this story. So remember, a day in life now with ThousandEyes, we are able to articulate and see clear where the problem was. Much different than the previous scenario, where I didn't actually have this great solution to help me in my daily basis. And just for a lack of detail a little bit more, in this case I'm using a lot of enterprise agents, one by site in US, in those branches, as well as an endpoint agent installed on my own laptop, and that's it. It's able to provide me all that visibility end to end. This is just one example that the main state here is that I don't need to rely on Lucky anymore, because now I have a powerful solution to solve my problems, and look at that. And not only that, that solution provides me a link which I can share with the provider. They don't even need to have an account with ThousandEyes Cloud to see the same view that I was looking at some minutes before. So the conclusion is that with ThousandEyes, I'm able to really articulate where the problem is, and I can now do more than that. I can use that tool and collaborate with other providers to help and find where the problem is, and with that restore my critical applications, or the most important applications, more easily and quickly. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for your time, and hopefully you'll be here in another chapter of a day in the life, but now focusing in another great Cisco solution. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.